finishing up the direct and cross-examination portion of our McNamara versus Energy Dynamics case. So if you recall last night, the plaintiff's case, the plaintiff rested, and so now we are changing over to the defense case in chief. What we're going to do is have the defense do direct examination, stop and do a little bit of Q&A to keep it interactive. Then we'll finish up the cross, and then the end will be for kind of just general questions after everything is finished. So that's the plan for this morning. Mr. Kaufman is going to be introducing our judge for the day.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thanks for coming back. I could see this generational thing already at work. There were a few students here, and everybody else was on time. So it's the same thing. I'm used to this. Thank you for coming back. We've got an exciting program today, so I don't want to delay it. But I do want to remind everybody that the concluding session of the spring, same problem, is going to go to closing arguments on April 17 and 18. That's the same Friday, Saturday schedule, 4:30 to 6:30 and 9 to 11. So I want to urge any of you that can make that to come to see how this case finishes up. So with that said, we are truly honored today to have with us to be our judge, Judge Joan Sonnenberg. She's been a friend, she's been a colleague, but she's been our judge. And she has gone on the bench after practicing civil and criminal law for 16 years, and she was on the municipal court bench for 2 years, and then she has been on the Court of Common Pleas since. She has a full civil and criminal docket, but she also presided over the Recovery Court, which is a special court, and from what I understood at the time, the only one in Ohio that dealt with people in the criminal justice system who had issues with alcohol, issues with drugs, emotional trauma, and then she also took on a special program dealing with victims of human trafficking. It's a remarkable story, and she was the one that forged that program that has been so successful in this county. She's a graduate of Cleveland State University Law School. She was selected to the school's Hall of Fame, and if you want to find out why any of these things are happening, please Google her, and you will be amazed at what you read about her career. So that said, I want to thank you very much, Judge, for being here today. That said, I'm going to turn it over to the court.
Thank you so much. My husband always says I'm late, but I was on time today, which now makes me feel old. And it's great to see you. I'm Joan Sonnenberg. Welcome to court this morning. And I do want to thank you, Steve, for the program that you've created, and I do also want to thank Jen for opening court this morning, each of you for being here, seeing a lot of familiar faces, and to counsel in this case, no matter how I treat them today. I'm just kidding. They're both dear friends, and I think the world of them, Mike Unger, who you've met before, and Eric Kennedy. So thank you. With that, we will call this case. This is case number 10886, Sean McNamara Industries versus Energy Dynamics Incorporated. On behalf of the plaintiff, counsel Eric Kennedy. On behalf of the defendant, Mike Unger. The plaintiff's rested. We resume the record at this time with the defense calling their first witness in their case in chief on direct examination. Mr. Unger.
Thank you very much, Your Honor, and good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me step out of role play for 1 second. I want to give you a preview of the questions that I will be asking of you when I get done with direct examination, so you can be thinking about them as we go through it. Once I'm done, I'm going to ask you for your impressions of the witness. Did you like her? Are your impressions favorable or unfavorable? What is your view of energy dynamics once concluded with the direct examination of the CEO? Same thing, favorable, unfavorable. Did we tell a good story in response to Eric's claim that Tetro leached into the Columbia stream and poisoned that herd of cows? Did we accomplish that? are there gaps? Are there things that I could have done better, both substantively and or procedurally, that would have made it a better direct examination? So those are the things to think about as we proceed. Okay?
You may call your first witness.
All right, thank you very much, Your Honor. Good morning.
One moment, please rise to be sworn. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You shall answer the God. Thank you. You may be seated. Please spell your first and last name for the record.
My name is M.K. Phelps.
Great. And Ms. Phelps, what is your role at Energy Dynamics?
I am the CEO.
Okay. And where do you live?
I live in Nita City.
And how long has Nita City been part of your life?
For most of my adult life.
Did you attend school there?
I did. I went to Nita College.
After your undergraduate, did you pursue graduate studies?
I did. I got my MBA at Stanford.
Now, once you completed your formal education, what field did you go into?
I went into the energy sector on the business finance side of things.
Okay. When is it that you first joined Energy Dynamics?
I joined the company in 2016.
And what was your initial position?
I was hired to be the vice president of our capital investments division.
Okay. Can you explain for those on the jury who may not know, what does the capital investments division within a company do?
Yeah, essentially we purchase equipment. We purchase oil rigs, tankers, things like that.
Okay. Can you describe for the jury what Energy Dynamics was like, environmentally speaking? Not environmental in terms of the environment, but in terms of the corporate environment at Energy Dynamics when you first joined.
It's small. It was small when I first joined. It's local, so very community based.
Has the company grown over time and under your leadership?
Yes, it has.
Okay, how so?
When we discovered the natural gas resources of the Columbia Shale, it really changed the trajectory of our company in a very positive way.
Okay. Now, going back to your career trajectory at the company, we talked about your joining as an assistant vice president. Were you promoted from that position?
I was, yes.
Okay, to what position?
I was promoted to be the head of the capital investments division in 2019.
Okay. And eventually you were promoted to become the CEO, true?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and how did that happen? Can you walk us through?
Experience, personality, and creative ideas about how we could make the company better.
Who made the decision to promote you?
The board.
And approximately when is it that you became CEO of this company?
In 2020.
Big picture. What are your responsibilities as CEO?
Largely, I oversee generally our operations. I make sure that we are in regulatory compliance. And ultimately, we would like to make money at the end of the day as well.
Okay. And in making money, do you attempt to do so responsibly?
Of course.
You alluded to this a few moments ago, that things started to change in terms of the company's trajectory once exploration for natural gas was focusing on the new Columbia Shale. You remember that?
Correct.
Can you explain that a little bit more for the jury? What was going on?
Essentially, it's just a massive resource that we have under our city, and it's not only great in terms of our company, but it's also great for the economy of Nita.
Okay. Now, we've already established that this is your home, right?
Correct.
Okay. Do you understand that the thrust of the lawsuit that Mr. McNamara is bringing here accuses you and your company of essentially toxic dumping.
I
You
understand.
understand that?
I understand.
Okay. Did you do that?
No.
Did your company do that?
No.
What was your reaction when questions or concerns began to surface in the community about energy dynamics operations, and in particular with respect to the safety of those operations?
It's frustrating and disappointing because we do place such a high priority on safety.
Okay, and what did you do in response to some of those concerns?
We made sure to address them. We've had public meetings, and we want to make sure that the lines of communication stay open. People are worried about their homes, and so we want to address their concerns.
And were you personally present for some of these public meetings?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And did you participate in some of the public meetings?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Rob, could we get Exhibit 15 put up on the screen, please? And if it's easier for the witness, you may turn to it in your book. Okay, I am putting in front of you and before the jury and Your Honor, we have a stipulation that all exhibits are properly authenticated and admitted. Putting in front of you Exhibit 15, can you tell the jury what they're looking at?
This is a presentation that we prepared as part of our town hall meeting for March 11th of 2025.
Okay, so a little more than a year ago is the time period that we're talking about for this meeting.
Correct.
Okay. And what was the purpose of the PowerPoint presentation that we're about to look at?
We just wanted to address the community. We wanted to explain a little bit more about how hydraulic fracturing works and address some of the concerns that people have, but also the benefits that it brings to the community.
Okay. Can we take a look at page 49B for Rob? There you go, a new day. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at here?
Sure. Essentially, what this slide is trying to portray is that the Columbia Shale is an incredible natural resource for natural gas, and that the way that we are trying to extract that resource is done safely and responsibly.
Why did you believe that it was important to explain that to the community during this community meeting?
Because the resources that we're developing, the natural gas that we're extracting, really is beneficial for this community, and we want to address people's concerns about their safety as well.
We turn to the third slide in this deck, page 50, and we're going to focus on 50A. Thank you, Rob. So this one was entitled, How Do We Do It? What was this, and there's an illustration obviously that the jury can see here. What was this designed to do?
We just want to make the process of fracking a little more accessible to lay people. People hear fracking and they think of scary things, and so we wanted to break it down a little more scientifically for them.
Let's take a look at slide 4, 50B, right, our home, our responsibility. Can you tell the jury what was being communicated here?
We are a part of this community. Lots of our employees live in NEDA, and so we only have natural gas operations in NEDA. And we wanted to clarify that we do feel responsible for the community as well as our business.
Slide 5, please, job creation. What's going on here?
Well, we have been able to create about 18,000 well-paying permanent jobs in the community. And in addition to the exploration of natural resources, that economic development has been significant and has been beneficial for NIDA.
And why were you trying to highlight that during this public meeting where safety concerns are being raised?
It wasn't just about safety concerns. All members of the community were present, and we had some members of the community step forward and share how valuable their job with us has been, and what it's been able to do for their families.
Okay. Rob, can we please move forward to slide 6, 51B? This one was entitled Natural Gas, a Greener Future for Children. What was Energy Dynamics trying to communicate to the community here?
Again, we live here as well as work here, and so we send our kids to school here. And so we wanted to communicate that we are responsible members of this community.
The slide references concerns that have been raised about hydraulic fracking or fracturing. Why was it important for Energy Dynamics to communicate on this topic to this community?
But we want to assuage people's anxiety by being honest and transparent. We're not trying to hide anything, and so it's better to bring those concerns out to the light and address them than try and bury them.
Okay, and focusing a little bit more on the lawsuit that brings us here today. One point on this slide notes that Energy Dynamics has never had a major accident or spill, correct?
Right.
Okay. Why was that included? Why did you make that point?
I mean, first of all, that's a great record, and we do want to make sure to highlight our safety record to the community as proof that we are operating as responsibly as we possibly can.
Okay, and honing down a little bit more into what brings us here today, there's also a reference in this slide to continued testing and retesting of certain additives in the fracturing process. What message were you trying to communicate to the public in that regard?
Well, when you make decisions about safety, it's not just a one-time thing. You don't decide that it's safe once and then you never test it again, never address it again. And so we take an ongoing approach to safety very seriously.
Okay, if I had a laser pointer right now in my hand, I'd be using it, but I want to direct your attention specifically to numbered paragraph 3 under Here are the Facts. Numbered paragraph 3 reads, quote, tetro, an additive that helps us reduce waste, has never been proven to cause health defects or environmental contamination. Did I read that correctly?
You did.
Okay, what is the reason for that being included in this presentation, and can you elaborate on it a bit for the jury, please?
Well, the reason that it was included is because it is true. It was true then. It maintains, continues to be true now. And again, we want to be transparent. We want to address people's concerns about what it is that we're doing to their community.
Okay, and you preempted my next question, but wisely so, and I think it merits repeating. Was that statement that I just read true in March of 2025 when it was made to the citizens of NIDA?
Yes.
And is it true today?
Absolutely.
I was struck by the title of this slide, Natural Gas, a Greener Future for Children. You see that?
Yeah.
What did that mean? What were you intending to communicate with respect to that title?
I think that we want to focus on the long-term impacts of what it is that we're doing here, and not just the present impacts. Like I said, I live here. I send my kids to school here, and so it is important to me that I leave a better world for them than I found it.
Now you understand that Mr. Kennedy will have an opportunity to ask you some questions here shortly, and his client are contending that the use of a chemical called tetrahydrochlor, or tetro, to use the shortened name, caused cattle to die. You understand that, correct?
I understand that
That's the
contention.
essence of the claim.
Yes.
Okay, and it did so by introducing that chemical into the water supply that was available to those cattle and from which they drank, the Columbia Stream, correct?
Yes.
You understand that?
I understand.
That's the core of the claim. I want to talk about, and Tetro, to be fair, is a fairly new development by your company, correct?
Correct.
At a high level, and understanding that your background is a Stanford MBA and not a chemist or a scientist, at a high level, what is it that Tetro does?
Tetro seeks to bond with gas molecules to prevent them from escaping during the fracking process. So pre-Tetro, we would lose about 30% of the gas as a natural effect of fracking. With Tetro, we are able to capture it and process it.
Okay, and can you, again, within limitations and only that which is within your knowledge, can you talk about Tetra's affinity, for lack of a better term, for water versus gas?
Well, Tetro is hydrophobic, so it does not dissolve in water. It actively seeks to bond with the gas molecules.
What was that word again? Hydrophobic?
Hydrophobic, yeah. Yeah,
What does
so
hydrophobic mean for those of us that...
it doesn't dissolve in water. It seeks to bond with gas, so it's
Okay.
not something that's being dissolved in water.
Okay. And was that intentional in the design process?
Yes, it
R&D
was.
process? Let's take a step back for a moment. When a new product or a new chemical is under consideration for potentially being brought to market, how does Energy Dynamics go about approaching this prospective new product from a testing and a safety perspective?
Well, we take testing very seriously. We have an amazing testing team, which is kind of like a self-compliment because obviously they all work for us, they all live here. But they really do a fantastic job. We have great R&D, and they really are dedicated to protecting their community by testing as much as they can and making sure that it's safe.
We know, and you just alluded to this, and thank you for doing so. We know that during the R&D process with respect to Tetro, there was a fair amount of internal discussion that took place.
Yes.
Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And were you personally involved in some of the email threads that I suspect you will see from Mr. Kennedy, and you'll even see a couple from me. Were you involved in some of those?
Yes.
Okay. Does it surprise you that such discussions were happening within the company at the time that Tetro is being developed?
It doesn't surprise me, and actually, I think that it's good to be able to have those discussions. Those are things that I encourage as CEO.
Okay. And in that regard, in terms of your encouragement as CEO, what happened when there were concerns and issues being raised internally regarding the safety of this product?
I directed our teams to continue testing the product.
Okay. We see, and again, I suspect my adversary, who's very skilled, may address this with you on cross-examination. But we've seen that there were some very sharp internal disagreements with respect to certain aspects of the development process. You agree?
There were discussions. There were
Okay.
disagreements.
And were you surprised to see that as part of the process here?
No.
And is that something, again, consistent with your prior testimony that you would have encouraged, that type of debate, banter, whatever you wish to call it?
Absolutely.
And why is that, again, in terms of having the big picture overview in sight as CEO? Why is that something that you would have encouraged within Energy Dynamics?
I mean, again, we want to make sure that things are as safe as possible. And if someone has concerns, then we want to do everything that we can to assuage those concerns and have the data to back up what we say.
Okay, Rob, if we could we put Exhibit 12 up on the screen, please? Let the witness turn to it. Ms. Phelps, I'm handing you, and we're showing the jury Exhibit 12, which is a series of emails from 2023 time period. Can you just tell the jury what's going on here generally?
This is just one of our scientists, Matt Barron, raised some concerns about Tetro, and I had another scientist that disagreed with him, and so essentially I said, let's just make sure that we keep testing so that we understand what it is that Tetro can do.
Okay. And let me just ask you this. When you were writing these emails at the time, did you think that they would be shown to a jury three years later?
No.
If you'd known that, might you have chosen slightly different language here and perhaps in other places?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, you are included, as the jury can see, you are included on some of those emails. Does this email thread that we're looking at, Exhibit 12, fit the process of internal deliberations and discussions with respect to safety of Tetro that you just discussed?
It does.
Let me ask you this straight up, Ms. Phelps. Does this document in any way reflect Energy Dynamics ignoring safety issues or safety concerns with respect to Tetro?
No, not at all.
Now, in preparation for your testimony today, in preparation for this trial, you've reviewed these emails, you've reviewed other documents. My question to you is there anything that you reviewed in preparation for today that shakes your confidence as CEO that Tetro is safe?
No.
All right, I want to shift gears, and I want to talk about inspections by third parties, by NEDA, DNR, coming onto your property and inspecting the site. You with me?
With you.
All right. Are Energy Dynamics drilling sites subject to inspections by certain government regulators?
Yes, they are.
And generally speaking, who conducts those inspections?
State regulators from the Department of Natural Resources.
Would you, on a scale, would you describe the inspections as frequent, sometimes, almost never? Where would you put it on the continuum?
They're pretty frequent.
Are they announced or unannounced?
Unannounced.
Meaning you do not have advance notice
No.
that they're coming. What about the sites themselves? Do you have any advance notice as to which site they're going to show up and inspect?
No.
During such inspections, do inspectors physically come to Energy Dynamics property
Yes, they do.
and inspect? As CEO of the company, have you ever denied access to any of these inspectors?
No.
Have you ever restricted access to any of these inspectors?
No.
Have you ever directed any of your employees to deny or restrict access to any of these inspectors?
No.
In your experience, is it true that once the inspectors arrive, they personally observe the site conditions that they are there to observe?
They do.
Is that what they do? And When they make these site inspections, soon following such inspections, do they regularly communicate their observations of the sites to you and to your employees?
They do.
Okay. And to your understanding, are those communications based on what those inspectors have observed during their site visits?
Yes, they are.
And to your understanding, are those inspections being conducted as a result of certain regulatory or statutory requirements, meaning the law requires them?
Yes.
And as CEO, in terms of operating this enterprise, do you rely on those inspectors' communications and findings in terms of understanding energy dynamics compliance status, for lack of a better term?
Yeah.
And does that track record with the inspectors affect how Energy Dynamics approaches its operations and approaches its safety practices?
Yes, it does.
And what did the NEDA inspectors communicate to you about your sites?
They said that we had some of the best maintained sites that they visit in the industry.
Now let's drill down, pun intended, let's drill down a little bit into that statement. Over the past several years, approximately how many wells has Energy Dynamics developed?
I think we've got about 1,000.
Okay. Now with operations at that level, at that scale, have you been perfect when it comes to compliance?
No, I mean, perfection would be an unreasonable standard, truly, but we do our best to be perfect.
And let's make sure the jury follows this. When those inspectors come on site and they see something with which they are unhappy, they issue a citation. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Since you became CEO, how many citations have been issued?
3.
And of those 3, were any of them serious?
Only 1.
Okay. Let's talk about that one. Rob, can we put up Exhibit 13, please? Okay, we're going to spend a couple of minutes talking about this one because I suspect that my adversary may do so. Exhibit 13, can you tell the jurors what they are looking at here?
This is a notice of violation from 2021 about the depth of one of our pits.
Okay, and can you explain for the jury what the purpose of these pits is?
It's essentially to collect the waste byproducts of fracking so that we can send it to be treated.
Okay. Let's take note of the date, which is May 30th, 2020. Yeah. 2021. May 30th, 2021. What was the issue that was identified in that notice?
One of our pits was shallow.
Did this notice in 2021 have anything to do with cattle health?
No.
Did this notice issued in 2021, which again I suspect you'll hear something about on cross-examination, was that in any way related to water contamination?
No.
In connection with this notice, was there any finding of water contamination anywhere?
No.
Any piercing of the aquifer or anything like that?
Nothing like that.
Okay, now I want to turn to Energy Dynamics' response to this citation, all right?
Okay.
What did you do? What did the company do to address the issue being raised here?
We redid the pit. We made sure that it was properly sealed, that it met the required depth, and we made sure that it was as safe as possible.
Once you did so, were there any further citations issued to Energy Dynamics in connection with this pit?
No.
Any citations whatsoever after the 2021 notice of violation?
No.
So fair to say that the 2021 notice was the last citation on with respect to that site?
That's correct.
Okay. And now, this is an important point that I want to make sure the jury follows. When was it that Tetro was first brought to market?
In the summer of 2023.
Okay, so that's years after what we're looking at on this exhibit, correct?
That's correct.
So when the things that gave rise to Exhibit 13 were happening, Tetro wasn't yet, had not yet been brought to market. True?
That's correct.
And perhaps it's obvious, but I'll take a risk in asking the question: did this Exhibit 13 have anything to do with Tetro?
No.
Then or today?
No.
Not related in any way.
Not related in any way.
Once again, when used properly, is Tetro safe?
Yes.
I want to turn now to the tragic cattle deaths that bring us here today. Were you aware of the cattle deaths on the adjoining property, on the McNamara Farms property?
Yes.
Just straight up, Ms. Phelps, you know what killed those cows?
No, but I know that it wasn't Tetro.
Approximately how many cattle were on the McNamara farm?
I think there were about 200.
And to your knowledge, were both the cattle that died and those that that thrived drinking from the same stream?
Yes, they were.
Okay, now there was testing of the water, correct?
Yes.
And there was testing of the water for water contamination, true?
True.
Okay. If we could, Rob, could we please put up Exhibit 6? Thank you, sir. And can you walk the jury through what a site inspection report with respect to water contamination looks like as they're looking at it, and what these water contamination reports show?
Well, essentially, they test the water for to see if the levels of any chemicals that they might find are below the MCL. So that's the maximum containment level.
Let me interject one question. My bad. Who's they?
The inspectors. So those would be the folks from the DNR,
Okay. And DNR is?
Department of Natural Resources.
Okay. Thank you. Go
Absolutely.
ahead. Continue. I interrupted.
So they go ahead and test the water to see whether or not it exceeds the maximum containment level. And in this report dated February 2024, you will see that the levels are below the limits.
So, translation. Tell me if I've got it wrong. In the same year that Tetro is being introduced, independent water testing shows that the various levels were within the regulatory limits and never exceeded them. Is that true?
This is the year after Tetra was introduced, but accurate. They did not exceed the regulatory limits. They were below the regulatory limits.
Sitting here, thank you for that. And can we just, Rob, can you just scroll through the rest of Exhibit 6? Thank you for each of the dates, and then the jury will have this in the jury room and can peruse it. But each of the site investigations contained in this exhibit corroborates what you just said, which is all of the levels, all the contamination levels were within accepted limits. True?
Sure.
Okay. Sitting here today, Ms. Phelps, as CEO of this company, have you seen any scientific evidence that demonstrates a leak of any contaminants, including but not limited to Tetro, into the stream that those cattle drank from?
No.
Have you seen any evidence up until this very moment that Tetro entered the aquifer feeding that stream?
No evidence.
And again, apologize for the repetition. You do understand that it is Mr. Kennedy's client's contention that Tetro contaminated that stream from which the herd drank. You understand that, right?
I understand.
That understanding in mind, just keep that at the forefront of your brain. Can you offer any explanation why it is that if the entire herd drank from the same water, from the same Columbia stream, that only some cattle were affected? Can you explain that?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Calls for an opinion from someone who's not been qualified.
The objection is sustained. Next question, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Are you aware whether any autopsies were performed on the deceased cattle?
No autopsies that I'm aware of.
Are you aware of any water contamination reports coming from the plaintiff's side or anywhere else to support the plaintiff's claims?
No.
Rob, last exhibit, I believe. Could you please put up Exhibit 18? Okay, Exhibit 18, Ms. Phelps, is a somewhat terse text email exchange between you and Mr. McNamara. You recall this?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell the jury what's going on in this exchange?
Sean was upset about the appearance of properties adjacent to his, and he was concerned it might have an effect on his bed and breakfast business.
Okay. Can we keep going, Rob, so we see Ms. Phelps' response? Why is it that your response to his complaint and the picture that we can all see was, quote, you know that we have all of our permits in order, plant a privacy hedge? Why was that your response?
Because we do have all of our permits in order, and if he's that concerned about it, he can plant a privacy hedge.
Okay, and I want to talk about what's not in this text. Is there any complaint that being registered in this text communication from Mr. McNamara about sick cattle?
No.
Is there any complaint in this written communication from Mr. McNamara about contaminated water?
No.
Okay, thank you, Rob. You can take that down. Few final points, Ms. Phelps, and then I'll be turning you over to Mr. Kennedy. Did you ever direct any energy dynamic employees to look the other way?
No.
Or ignore any safety concerns or any issues with respect to tetro or any other contaminants from any of your sites?
No.
And again, you live here in Nega, correct?
With my husband, yeah,
And your children,
and my children.
whom you send to school here.
I do, yes. I guess I will.
Thank you, Ms. Phelps.
Thank
Pass the witness.
Thank you.
Before we start our question and answer, I have to run outside for a moment.
Go ahead.
We're in a brief recess, ladies and gentlemen.
recess. All right, and obviously enjoy your
I'll go over, I'll go tell
coffee,
if there's
okay.
anyone still out
Great.
here.
I wanna put it over there.
We can.
First of all, can we have a round of applause for Olivia? I mean, she did a phenomenal job. Okay, so I'm going to ask some questions first, and then you guys can ask questions, and then I definitely want to turn it over to Eric. How many had an overall favorable impression of the CEO of this company? And as a result of that, how many had a favorable impression of the company she heads, Energy Dynamics? How much does that follow through? Okay. Do you think at this point in the trial that the defense, through this witness, has told a good story in response to the claim that Tetro leached into the Columbia Stream and poisoned those cows? Do you think that that story got through as a result of the direct examination? Show of hands, how many people think that was fairly effectively communicated? I'm not looking for compliments here. I'm now searching for criticism. What do you think could have been done better to make it a better direct examination? What kind of gaps or holes existed? Both, and I'd like to hear criticisms both substantively and procedurally in terms of the direct examination. Yes, sir.
I guess one thing that I really loved, and I think it happened in the defense opening, is the constant connection back to, like, this is also where she lives. I think I would have really liked to hear something about, like, what is the impact of the accusation? Like, you know, what effect would poisoning the river have on her? What would it have on her family? What would it have on her employees? So to talk about
So I'm going to throw it back at you. Wasn't that Eric's teaching point yesterday? Don't you want? Do I really need to tell you that? I mean, don't you get there on your own as the jury? I mean, that was exactly the point that Eric made yesterday. I think brilliantly so. I mean, I just wouldn't. I'm pushing back a little bit. I wouldn't ask that question because I know the jury can figure that out. That's why I ended with, you live here, your kids live here. You know, you're absolutely right. I want to make that point because I think it's a big one. But I wouldn't go that far, typically. So, and then, I'm sorry, I skipped over. You were the first one to have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the jury is made up, this is a rural area, so it's made up of the neighbors, farmers, ranchers, and trying to put myself in their shoes. Basically, they are anti-government, that they want a small government, so they're looking out for each other, even though they may be competitors. I see that this is a steep hill to climb because they are more aligned, predisposed to the plaintiff, and because they see them as the plaintiff, and that what goes around comes around idea. And so with with this witness, it seemed as if that you were the witness, in which you were asking detailed questions, and she was yes or no. She didn't give I think, a narrative, enough of a narrative. And I was surprised that it was allowed that she could answer how many cows drank from the stream. And, I mean, she doesn't have that. I would assume she doesn't have that.
She does in the fact, the gods that created the fact narrative. Not me. She knows that.
Right.
She does know how many herd of cattle are there because, and in fairness, it's part of the complaint. So she does know that fact.
And so with the delivery, I noticed, and I think you're a fantastic attorney. I mean, obviously your skills are amazing, but you had the detailed question, and she answered yes or no, and then you responded under your breath, okay, like she answered it correctly as you wanted to. I don't know if you were trying to just establish the record and not worry about the jury at this point, or
I'm
It
very
just-
worried about the jury in this case from beginning to end, so.
Because I noticed you did look at us
To
quite a
be
number
sure,
of
I
times.
did try to look at the jury a few times, and I do that in trial, yes,
I
thank you.
did think you effectively looked at the jury, you were looking at all of us, and I do think, like you said yesterday, you try to use leading to the extent possible, and that makes a clean record in terms of what kind of testimony you're getting out when the witness agrees with you, so I thought that was effective. I do think to that man's point in the back, I would have wanted to bring in the humanizing questions more at the beginning, because I was thinking while she was talking about my own child and would I want my child playing near this water and doing God knows what, the dog drinking from the water or whatever. And so to hear more about her personal life at the beginning and being a mother would have humanized her more.
Great, so even more humanizing. Steve?
Yeah, those are all great comments. Mine's just kind of an offshoot of that. So I thought there was good byplay on some detailed questions, and yes, and then somewhere narrative. A couple of things though. And I think to the point about the jury, what I was looking for more was concern about neighbors. Like this last text string, was pretty terse. And I think that the witness might have had a chance to talk a little bit. Look, we're trying to be a good neighbor. I made a suggestion. Obviously, this is a text. And the same with safety. You asked a couple of questions, and one question was, did you do the dumping? And I don't know whether you intended this or not, but you smiled, like when you said no. And I said, which is it? I mean, and it was a body language thing, and sometimes that tells you more than the answer. So I think to the point, a little bit more empathy. That's my only comment.
One more question, and then we're going to turn it over. And then we're going to turn it over to Cross, and then we're going to hopefully have a little bit of time at the end. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So, four things. First, the chart showing the jury what fracking is, that was a beautiful chart, but you went by so fast. I thought you had a chance to explain what they did to innovate with fracking with that chart. The second thing, let's see if I can remember, was a little more about Tetra, and is it used by anybody else? Did it grow the business of the company? Showing that their innovation was really important. A third thing was the chart on employment, a nice chart showing great improvement. What role did she play, and how big was it? She mentioned 18,000, but it would seem to me that would be a really effective point to the jury. Let's see, and the last thing, when you put the slides for the emails, and you talked about a dispute, but as a member of the jury, I want to, what the hell was a dispute, and how did they resolve it? Because I would have the sense that Mr. Kennedy will focus on
Get
that.
an idea how to resolve it, build a hedge.
Yeah.
All points very well taken. I can assure you, if I were conducting the direct examination of this woman in a real trial, it would take at least 4 to 5 hours. So, and probably 45 minutes would have been spent on that slide deck. Instead, I had to get the whole thing done in 45 minutes. So that's why you saw truncated versions of each of the slides.
Fair
But
enough.
points taken. I mean, the slides did do a good job of walking you through what the fracking process is, the benefits of Tetra, et cetera, and we would have done that before. So.
I do have a couple of remarks, if I may.
Yes,
Thank
Your Honor.
you. I don't know, there's one other person with a question, but of course, there may have been strategy decisions made by Mr. Kennedy about not objecting when there was leading question after leading question here. And in my courtroom, I would have stopped it because the testimony should come from the witness stand. So that was going on, but I'm sure Mr. Kennedy has his reasons for making those decisions. But I will comment as well on the nonverbals. It's very important. Every witness should be prepared. This really goes to the preparation issue. And that is that you don't know. You can tell somebody, sit down with them about their testimony. You need to put them in a chair and do it over and over to see how they respond. because this is really serious. I found the hedge comment to be off-putting. I thought overall, you can't have it both ways. I care about this community. Here I am. I'm one of you. Put up a hedge. It just sounds so dismissive of the community. And I think that you need to talk to a witness, how to sit still without doing anything, answer a question, listen to the question, and the gratuitous questions asked by counsel that were not relevant to any issue here. I mean, he had to ask about the kids, that kind of thing. So it was kind of brought in, I thought, with the point of making it look like humanizing somebody who could have otherwise been interpreted differently. Because when you were asked initially how many people thought that the witness helped you and weighed favorably on Mr. Unger's case, not everybody raised their hand. I would have liked to have heard what the rest of you had to say, because I did think that the community safety issue seemed a little disingenuous. And finally, I just feel compelled to say this. When counsel thanks somebody for an answer, it's one of my personal pet peeves. Or this one, what time was it? 3 o'clock. Great. And they're like, no, it's not supposed to be that way. If you like the answer you get, you don't need to ask the question twice. You already have it in testimony. Don't run the risk of getting a different answer. And I think commenting at the response of a witness just is more than you need to do. You're just asking questions and going on. I thought you did a great job as well, and you present so very professionally. That could be, the witness you were fantastic. We know each other a little bit. I'm not surprised you're great. You should be an actress, though. Seriously, she was acting. A lot of it became maybe not as sensitive necessarily, but you were talking a little. I wouldn't do that. So as opposed to being able to evidence your connection to the community. That's all I got. Thanks. We are now going to proceed. Thank you. Great questions from here, and I know there was another one. Maybe we'll get to it later. Thank you so much for your examination. And we are now going to proceed to hear from Mr. Kennedy on behalf of the plaintiff.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Good morning, Ms. Phelps.
Good morning.
Eric Kennedy, we've met before, have we not?
We have.
I've got a series of questions that I've prepared, but before we get to my prepared questions, there's something that you talked about with your lawyer over and over. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about. You talked about the fact that the Department of Natural Resources comes out and inspects your wells, correct?
That's correct.
And I think you said it more than once. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. You said it more than once that when they come out, it's unannounced. Is that what you told the folks?
Yes.
You understand, though, don't you, that Mr. Castrogano, the inspector that comes out to inspect your wells, he got suspended because he tipped off your foreman about when he was coming out to inspect. You know he got suspended for that, do you not?
I'm not sure why you're asking me that question.
Are you aware of that?
I'm aware of that.
And you're also aware that Mr. Castrogano actually got fired from the state in his job there because he wasn't doing his job with respect to citing folks like you for violations of the code. He got fired for that reason. You're aware of that also, are you not?
The reason why he got fired seems to be a matter of opinion.
You're aware he got fired, and that's the reason that was given by his employer, the great state of Nina, right?
I'm aware he is no longer with the Department of Natural Resources.
Let's talk about fracking. I think a slide went up and you didn't talk about it in much detail. Let's get a little detail here about this fracking process, all right? That's what you folks do, correct?
Correct.
That's what you do to go underground to get the natural gas.
Correct.
Natural gas can be 5,000 to 6,000 feet underneath the surface of the earth, true?
I'm not sure actually how far under the earth we go for natural gas.
How long have you been in this industry?
Many years.
Many years. You're the head of the company?
I am.
You looked at the slide where they explained the process, correct? That was put up by your lawyer, right?
It was.
And what you do in this fracking process, and again, if you don't know, let me know, but you drill deep holes down in the earth, right?
We drill.
Those are wells, right? and you blast water down those holes. High pressure water down those holes, correct?
Correct.
And that well water that gets blasted down the holes breaks up the shale layer, true?
True.
That releases the natural gas, right?
It does.
Water comes back up out of the hole, the natural gas comes up out of the hole, right?
Yes.
Then you capture and collect the natural gas and sell it, right?
Processed.
And that water comes back up out of the hole, right? You can't leave it down there.
It's processed.
Thousands of gallons of water you use.
Lots of water.
The water that you use, that you're blasting down into the earth, contains chemicals.
It's mostly water.
And you call those chemicals additives, right?
That's one term for them.
One of the chemicals that you utilize is benzene, true?
Benzene is an additive used in fracking.
So my answer is yes, correct?
Benzene is an additive that is used in fracking.
And benzene's a poison, is it not?
It is.
Besides being a poison, it's a carcinogen, true?
I'm not a chemist.
You know what a carcinogen is also. You know that it's something that causes cancer. Benzene is a carcinogen, is it not?
I'm not a chemist.
Do you know that? Yes or no? Is it something that is known to increase the risk of cancer?
It is.
Another thing that you folks have is this water that you blast down into the earth, arsenic. Arsenic's in that water. You add arsenic. That's another additive, correct?
I'm not sure that arsenic is part of our fracking process. It is a byproduct of fracking.
All right. And you frack.
We do.
And arsenic's folks have been poisoning kings and queens and princes back in the Roman era with arsenic, haven't they?
They have, but not with the levels that are found in Columbia Stream.
Well, we're going to talk about the levels in a minute, but let's first just establish what the chemicals are in the water that you're blasting into the earth, all right? Arsenic, not only is it a well-known poison for hundreds and hundreds of years, but arsenic is also carcinogenic, is it not?
I'm not a chemist.
Tetra. Tetra's in your water, right? And the thousands of gallons that you're blasting down into the earth, Tetra's in.
Tetro is a product that we use.
Well, Tetra's not a product you use. Tetra's a product you invented and developed, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And Tetra's a poison, isn't it?
No.
I had a glass of Tetro here and gave it to you in that little coffee cup, that water cup. Would you drink it?
Well, Tetro is hydrophobic, so it wouldn't be in my coffee cup, Mr. Kennedy.
If it was, would you drink it?
It wouldn't be in my coffee cup. Tetro is hydrophobic, Mr. Kennedy.
And I didn't ask whether it was hydrophobic, I asked whether it was poisonous. Is that true?
No,
It's not.
not to my knowledge.
All right. Now, these chemicals that you have in the water, you blast it down the earth, it comes back up, then it's gotta go somewhere, right?
Yes.
So what you folks do at your wells is you dig big pits in the earth, correct?
Correct.
To store that water.
Correct.
Some of those pits are as big as swimming pools, are they not?
Pretty big.
And the risk of those pits, I think you testified to the risk of those pits is that water with these chemicals, right? That water, those chemicals might seep through, might leak out of the pits into an aquifer. Correct? That's the risk.
It is a risk.
And these chemicals, but let me back up. These chemicals, Mr. Drummond, tell the folks who Mr. Drummond is. You didn't mention him in your direct examination. Who's Mr. Drummond?
Mr. Drummy is one of our scientists. He's a chemical engineer at Energy Dynamics.
And he called the chemicals in these thousands of gallons of water, he called them nasty, did he not?
I can't speak to what Mr. Drummy has said.
Well, he said nasty at the town hall meeting and you were standing next to him. So you remember him saying the chemicals in the water that we blast into the earth and then collect in our pits, these are nasty. Do you remember that?
Again, I can't testify to what Mr. Drumier said. He was at the meeting, as was I.
All right. So you collect the water in these pits. It's filled, at least for Mr. Drumey's characterization, these are the nasty chemicals, and the risk is that they might leak through into the aquifer, correct?
If improperly stored, I believe was a qualifier.
Aquifer is a large reservoir of water underneath the ground, correct?
Yes, I believe that's how you would characterize.
And reservoirs feed water into lakes, into streams, into ponds, do they not?
Again, I'm not a geoengineer, Mr. Kennedy.
Well, you had that slide up there that you were talking about. Aquifers provide the water into the lakes, to the streams, ponds in this community, correct?
Not a geoengineer.
Well, let me ask this, maybe it's a little simpler because you do live in this community. Not only do aquifers provide water into lakes and streams and ponds, but they also provide waters into the wells that people have at their homes, correct?
Correct.
The wells that provide water to bathe our kids, correct?
Yes.
The wells that provide water to cook our food, correct?
Our, since I live here as well, yes.
And wells that provide water to wash our clothes in our homes, true?
Yes.
And this risk that we're talking about, this risk of these nasty chemicals going from your pits into the aquifer, into wells and ponds and streams, that risk is so great that the great state of Nita enacted a statute, a law, to tell you what you all got to do with these pits, correct? They established a law for you.
They did.
And that's law, I think it's a regulation 25.800. You're aware of that, aren't you?
I'm not sure the regulation number.
This might be a question I forgot to ask. that law, and we can bring it up if you don't remember, but I mean, you're the CEO of the company, right? You want to follow the laws, right?
Yes.
That law says your pits must be impermeable. That's the word that the legislature of this state used. Your pits must be impermeable. You aware of that?
Do you have an exhibit for this, Council?
Can you bring up the appendix, please? I believe it's the regulation in the code.
Which exhibit number?
It is not an exhibit number, it's an appendix that we provided to you folks. If not, I can just pull this up.
I emailed it to you. Promise.
It's 97 in your. Does this say State of Nita Administrative Code?
Yes.
And if you could go to page 99, this is 97. You see where I circled the word impermeable?
No, I'm blind as a bat, Council.
Sorry, it's number 4, impermeable. It's talking about a pit or tank. See that?
Yes.
So can we agree? We've got this telling you folks got to make these pits impermeable. And that means that you got to make them such that this water with these nasty chemicals won't leak out, right? That's what that means. True?
I'm not Merriam-Webster, but that's generally how I might define impermeable.
How you would define it?
Can you repeat the question, Council?
Impermeable.
You just defined impermeable.
Can we agree that means that you got to make your pits of this water with these nasty chemicals can't leak out? That's what that's telling you.
Can't penetrate the barrier of the pit.
Okay. Let me ask you, can you agree with me that your company has the duty and the responsibility to use every reasonable effort to make your pits impermeable? Can we agree with that?
Sure.
And can we agree that the people of this community, they have every right to trust that your company will use every reasonable effort to make your pits impermeable.
Reasonable effort.
You would agree with that?
I would agree with reasonable effort.
And let's look what you folks do to make these pits impermeable. Number one, you can use polyurethane tarps. Line those big swimming pools of wastewater. You can line them with a tarp, right?
That's one thing.
And there's different qualities tarps. True?
Yes.
But you know what? Let me ask you, even if you use the highest quality tarp, if that tarp has holes in it, that doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't, if it's got holes in it.
I wouldn't think so.
May I have exhibit 4, please? This is a citation from the Department of Natural Resources. See, that's this citation.
I can read, counsel.
This is at the well that is next to Mr. McNair's property. Is that true? Old Res Road. You see that up there?
I see that up there. I believe that it's close to his property.
You see, if we go 4 lines down, it says pit is close to Old Reservation Stream, approximately 20 yards. You see where it says that?
I do.
And that's the stream that the cows of Mr. McNamara drink out of, correct?
I thought they were drinking out of Columbia Stream, counsel.
Not that stream?
Columbia Stream, I believe.
Pit is lined with large tarp. The tarp is not evenly spread. Do you see that?
I see that, yes.
It says clear violations of code, including but not limited to fences down near the pit, allowing animals or children or access to wastewater. Do you see that?
That's what's written here.
Down 2 lines, visible holes in parts of the tarp. Tarp is also the lowest grade polyurethane coating. No cement basin used. Did I read that right?
Seems to be what's written, yes.
Can you tell me how long, how many years were you using the lowest grade polyurethane coating? How many years? This gives us a snapshot, but how many years have you been using that lowest grade polyurethane?
Seems like an unfair question, counsel.
Do you know?
I'm not directly responsible for putting the tarps into the pits.
Was it 10 years?
That seems like an unfair question,
Was
counsel.
it 5 years?
Since I am not directly responsible for putting the tarps into the pits.
I'm going to direct the witness to answer the question.
Do you know?
I don't know.
Look go down to the next paragraph. It says spoke with foreman of the operation. He said it would be taken care of and that he knew the pit was in disrepair. Said he was waiting on management to authorize improvements. You're management, aren't you?
Yes.
How many weeks, how many months, how many years did management delay after knowing about this condition? How many years did they delay in doing the repairs? Do you know?
Management did not knowingly delay after learning about this condition.
You said waiting on management to authorize improvements. How long did it take for you folks to authorize the improvements?
It doesn't say that here, counsel. It doesn't say how long he was waiting.
I know, but you're management. Can you tell me how long?
For this particular instance, wouldn't have been that long.
Every day that you got holes and you got inferior polyurethane, every day you have that risk of these nasty chemicals going from your swimming pool pit into the aquifer, into lakes and streams and ponds and people's wells. Every day, increase that risk, correct?
There's no citation after this about that issue, counsel.
best way for you folks to line these pits is with cement, isn't it?
That's a recommended way.
Well, a little bit more than recommended. In 2023, when Mr. Barron did his study on Tetro and he gave you folks a memorandum, he said that, hey, if you're going to use Tetro, the best thing to do would be have cement basement. Didn't he tell you that in 2023?
Do you have a reference for that, Council?
Yes, I think that's Exhibit 2. Pull Exhibit 2, please. This is the report, the internal memorandum that your scientists provided you with in 2023, correct?
This is a testing summary from Matthew Barron, who was our chief chemical engineer.
And if you go to the next page, please. See that first paragraph? 4 lines down the far right. It starts, however, testing shows that Tetro is likely to permeate all but the strongest pit linings. Concrete pits would be best. Do you see that?
I see that.
So your own scientist is telling you in 2023 that if you're going to put Tetro in these thousands of gallons of water that you're blasting down into the earth and then you're going to store it in these pits, that the best thing to do would be to make these pits concrete. True.
He said it would be best.
And the fact of the matter is, as late as 2025, 2 years later, you still have pits that aren't made of concrete. True.
Do you have evidence of that you can share with us, Council?
Yes. If you'll go to Exhibit 14, please. Exhibit 14.
Hold on 1 second,
I'm
Council.
sorry. Which is page 41 of your exhibits. You go to page 41 of your exhibits. This is the transcript from the town hall meeting that you talked about with Mr. Ryan. Remember talking to him about that?
We talked about the presentation, not the transcript of the meeting.
Go to page 47 if you would. This meeting was in 2025, was it not?
Yes, March 11th, 2025.
And up at the top of page 47, second sentence, this is Mr. Drumming. He's an engineer at your firm, right?
He's one of our chemical engineers.
He says, we line them with polyurethane. We have cement basins at some sites. Is that what he says? Is that what he says?
It's what the transcript reads.
Objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, it's, the council would like to do that on redirect. It's out there, Your Honor.
Not
Objections overruled, we will have an opportunity to address this under redirect.
So 2023, your scientist tells you if you're going to use Tetra, it's best to make them cement. And 2 years later, only some of them have cement. Is that what we have here in these records?
I can't testify to what Mr. Drumming has said. Mr. Barron recommended that cement basins were best.
You got a duty and responsibility to use every reasonable effort to make these pits safe, do you not?
We do.
The people of this community have a right to trust that you're going to make every reasonable effort to make these pits safe, don't they?
They do.
Town hall meeting. You talked about this town hall meeting with Mr. Unger. Do you recollect that?
We talked about the presentation with Mr. Unger.
There was a town hall meeting, wasn't there, in 2025, just last year?
There was.
And it was an opportunity for you folks from your company to come in and explain fracking, explain what you're doing to make it safe, explain the dangers to the people of the community, correct? It was your opportunity to do that.
An opportunity.
And it was an opportunity for the people of this community to ask questions, true?
And share their positive experiences with our company.
And to raise thoughts and concerns that they might have. Was there opportunity to do that, true?
There was a Q&A.
And you were there?
I was there.
Mr. Drumming, Tony Drumming, the scientist engineer who knows a whole lot about fracking and Tetro, he was there, right?
I believe he was present, yes.
The mayor was there.
Mayor Gunderson was there.
Folks from the community were there.
They were.
My client, Mr. McNamara, he was there. True.
I believe so.
And can we agree that at a meeting like this, when you've got your neighbors and community folks there, that given the purpose of the meeting, it was important for you, as a representative of your company, Mr. Drummey is a representative of your company, it was important for you folks to be honest. True?
Yes, honesty is important.
Important for you folks at that meeting to be open. True?
Yes.
Important for you folks to be thorough in answering if somebody had a question and a concern. Correct?
As thorough as possible.
Mr. Drummey at the meeting, this community meeting in front of the mayor and you standing right next to Mr. Drummey said that your company had never been found to be in violation of the regulations. That wasn't true, correct?
I can't testify to what Mr. Drummey has said.
You've seen the transcript and you were there, correct?
I was.
And he said, our company has never been found to be in violation of any regulation. That wasn't true, correct?
Correct.
And you were standing right next to him when he said it, right?
Correct.
And you never said, whoa, stop a second, let me correct that. Because I've got the community here. You never stopped and corrected and said, well, that's not really accurate because we have. You didn't correct them, did you?
I did not.
And at the same meeting, Mr. Drummey, the engineer at your company said, hey, folks, and we've never paid a dime in a fine for a violation. And that wasn't true, was it?
No, it was not.
And you're standing right next to him and you didn't correct him, did you?
No, I did not.
And again, it's important for you folks at a meeting like this to be honest, is it not?
It is important for us to be honest.
And open, correct?
Yes.
And thorough with your answers because you've got the community there and they've got concerns. True?
True.
Now at that meeting, I think you pulled them up there, you had a PowerPoint presentation. True?
True.
And you make a PowerPoint so that you can better communicate with folks, correct?
It's a visual aid.
So you can better communicate.
Ideally.
So you can hopefully make people understand what you're trying to tell them. True?
Some people are visual learners, Counsel.
I'm a visual learner. So I appreciate, PowerPoints. In that PowerPoint, we can bring it up, but I think you talked about it. That PowerPoint says, with respect to this product Tetra that we invented, it says we test and we retest. Do you see that?
Let's pull up that exhibit, Counsel.
Right. That's exhibit 15. If you want to go to page 51 in your exhibits. So you're going to go 2 pages into page 51. Page 51.
No, this is page 50.
I don't think that's 51.
Starts with job creation.
Okay, I think this is it. See number 4? There on the bottom.
Yes.
It says ED, that's your company, right?
Yes.
And then it says continues. And you underline it. You underline that to emphasize that it continues. True?
True.
ED continues to test, improve, and retest all of our fracking additives. And Tetra is one of your fracking additives. True?
True.
You tested, this slide is from 2025. You tested Tetra in 2023, did you not?
We began testing Tetra in 2023.
Well, you have a report that was provided to us in a memo of this 2023 testing. We looked at that already. You recall that?
From Mr. Barron.
Yeah, 2023, correct?
Yes, I recall that.
And you understand that we've asked your company, ED, and your lawyers are asking for every single memorandum and test that you folks have on Tetra. And all we got testing and a memo from 2023. We got nothing for 2024. We got nothing for any testing for 2025. We got nothing from testing in 2026. Are you aware of that?
It doesn't seem to be part of the record.
And you know we asked for it, right?
Well, I would hope you asked for it, counsel.
And we did. And you're not suggesting that you folks were doing tests in 2024 but not creating any reports or memos, are you?
No, but I believe in my emails, counsel, I direct tests to continue.
I know, but we asked for it. And so either they didn't get done or they got done and you didn't like the results so we didn't see it. One of the two, right?
That seems to be
Objection, Your Honor, argumentative.
I withdraw, Your
Say-
I
say
withdraw.
this for the record.
I withdraw. Go to Exhibit 14, if you would. This is a transcript from the town hall meeting. If you go to page 47, and this is a transcript, a word-for-word transcript of what occurred during the town hall meeting that you were present at, right?
correct.
And if you go down to the third paragraph where it says Tony Drummy, that's your engineer at your company, right?
An engineer.
And you asked him to be at this meeting, did you not?
He came to the meeting.
And what he states, the last sentence, he states, quote, I can't think of a single thing we can do to make these pools safer. Do you see that?
That seems to be what the transcript shows, counsel.
That's not true, is it?
I can't testify to Mr. Drummy's statements.
Let me ask you, you could make all these big swimming pool pits with the nasty chemicals, you could make them out of cement, all of them out of cement, couldn't you? That would make it safer. True.
That was the recommendation from Mr. Barron.
You could use the highest quality polyurethane to line these pits, and that would make them safer, wouldn't it?
Again, another recommendation from Mr. Barron.
And you could certainly line them with polyurethane that didn't have holes in it. That would make it safer, correct?
I'm sure it would, counsel.
And I suppose you could actually put real fences around these pits, and that would make it safer, right?
Yes.
Important to be honest at these meetings, right?
It is important to be honest at these meetings, counsel.
PowerPoint. Let's talk about the PowerPoint again. If you pull up Exhibit 15, if we could. Page 51 in your book. So this is the PowerPoint, correct?
Yes, but we're not on page 51.
Now if we can go to further. Okay, perfect. Okay, the next page. So you want to go back. Okay, stop right here. Okay, this is it. Take a look here. If we go down to number 3. This is a PowerPoint presentation to your neighbors and folks in the community. True?
True.
And number 3 says Tetra, an additive that helps us reduce waste, has never, and you underline never, you want to emphasize that in this presentation, right?
Yes.
Has never been proven to cause health defects. Do you see that?
Yes.
seem to be focusing here on what has not been proven, correct?
That's a fair statement, yes.
What about what has been proven? I didn't see that in any of these slides. Is there a reason?
I think what's important is that Tetro has never been proven to cause health defects
So
or environmental contamination.
is it your testimony that it's what has been proven is not important to share with your neighbors?
It is not my testimony, counsel.
Well, then let's look what has been proven. First, your testing that's done in 2023 showed that Tetro will permeate all but the strongest pit linings. It's special in that regard. It's going to permeate all but the strongest pit linings. That was proven by you folks. But you didn't share that. Did you? I didn't see that in any of the slides where you told folks Tetro's different. It's going to permeate everything except for the strongest linings. Share that.
The goal was to keep the presentation accessible.
Well, let me ask you this. You also did studies back in 2023 on rats, rabbits, and chimpanzees, true?
Yes, not farm animals.
And when you gave Tetro, exposed these animals to Tetro, the rats, rabbits, and chimpanzees had seizures, didn't they? That was proven.
That may have been one result of a test.
Well, let's look at some of the other results. When you gave to rats, rabbits, chimpanzees, they also grew tumors. That was another result, correct?
Do you have an exhibit for this, counsel?
Well, we can go back. That's the memorandum that was provided to you by your scientist. Remember that? Exhibit 2. Page 12 in your exhibits. If you go to the next page, bottom paragraph, it starts with the results prove. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
And again, you shared with the people what hasn't been proven. I'm asking you about what was proven. What do you share that, all right?
Yes.
And so you got the rats, rabbits, and chimpanzees. It's causing tumors, it's causing seizures, but it also was causing blindness and death. True?
Those are listed as some of the results of this one test.
Those ain't good results, are they?
No, but I think, counsel, that the crucial component of this test was that the control amount exceeded the highest level of all of our test wells by a relatively significant margin.
You know, let me ask you about that a second. Who chose to use this level of tetrointoxicant? Who chose it? Was it your scientist?
I'm not sure.
This test wasn't done by the government, was it?
No.
It wasn't done by one of your competitors, was it?
No.
It was done by you folks, right?
It was led by Matt Barron.
And what I find interesting, the chimpanzee, you decided to do this test with the chimpanzee. You understand that the chimpanzee is genetically closer to a human being than any other animal on the planet. Do you understand that?
I can't testify to whether or not a chimpanzee is closest to a human in terms of genetics, counsel.
You're not aware of the 97% genetic overlay between the chimpanzee and the human?
I'm a CEO of an energy company, counsel.
Let's look at all. Did you share any of those results at the town hall meeting? And again, you told it wasn't proven. Did you share that result?
We did not. This was one test.
You also concluded human exposure, let me read this, human exposure could lead to serious medical exposures. Human exposure could lead to serious medical complications. You also concluded that, did you not?
Matt Barron concluded that.
You're a scientist, right?
He was with Energy Dynamics at that time.
So my question, did you share that with anybody at this meeting? You told what you didn't prove, did you share that?
No, we did not.
Important to be honest with your neighbors, isn't it?
It is. This is one test.
And your neighbors should be able to trust that you're being straight and honest. Shouldn't they? Shouldn't they be able to trust that?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered. I think this is the third or fourth time.
I'll let him continue. Go ahead, Mr. Kennedy.
We can go back to exhibit 15, please. It's page 52. I think it's the last one, if I remember. Yeah, right here, this is good. This was one of your slides, right?
It was.
For the town hall meeting.
It was.
Top of the slide, great big letters, right? Because you want to emphasize that. That's why you make the font bigger, right? To make your point.
Thank you, ideally.
And you folks at your company at this town hall meeting are saying, we're here for you, right? Great big letters, we are here for you, right? And then you say questions, big capital letter, ask us, right? So you're saying to everybody in the community, hey, you got a question, just ask us, right? We'll answer, true?
True.
And then below that it says concerns, and then a big bold letter said, call us, right?
It did.
You're trying to tell the folks in the community, you got a concern, particularly about safety, let us know, right?
Yes.
We can talk about it, true?
True.
Let's take a look here. You first started selling Tetro, town leaders were concerned, and they asked you folks, what are the chemicals in Tetro? You remember that?
We don't sell Tetra, we use Tetra.
When you first started using, the town leaders came to you and said, what are the chemicals in Tetro? Did they not?
Are you referring to the transcript for this meeting, Council?
No, I'm referring to your deposition testimony. They came to you and said, what are the chemicals? And you said, we can't tell you, correct?
That is protected.
All right, so they asked, the town leaders, what chemicals are in there, and you refused to tell them.
I didn't refuse, Council. I just don't have to share it.
Did you tell them?
I don't have to share it. It's trade secrets. It's
All right.
protected IP.
And then after this, some investigative reporters came to your company, and they had concerns, and they wanted to ask questions. And you said, mind your own business. You remember that?
I don't believe those are my exact words. It was the gist.
Should we look at your testimony?
I'm looking at my testimony.
Oh, give me your exact words then, so we can write them down, be accurate.
My words were, we mainly told them to mind their own business. We do have 10 minutes left, just so you know, Eric.
Oh, we're almost done. So after the reporters come to you,
I didn't need to laugh at that. You could have just,
after the reporters come to you, the great state of Anita comes to you. And they say, we need to know the chemicals in Tetro because we have to set some safe limits. Remember that?
No.
You said no. When the state said we need to know the chemicals in Tetro, you said we will not tell you.
What page of the deposition was that on, Council?
That's in the testimony of Mr. Castrogano, who said they had no safe limits for Tetro because you wouldn't tell us the chemicals. That's where that comes from.
As I've clarified, it's protected IP, and I cannot testify on behalf of Mr. Castrogano.
All right. Then, again, ask us. You got concerns, let us know. We'll help you out because we're here for you, right? Your neighbor, Mr. McNamara, came to you, didn't he? Remember that?
He did.
And at that point, you and he were friends, were you not?
Acquaintances.
And he had a concern, did he not? He had a concern that your wells and his pits were hurting his bed and breakfast, his Airbnb business, right? That was his concern, and he brought it to you because you folks are here for him, right?
He had a concern about an eyesore adjacent to his property, on property that was not his.
You told him, grow a hedge, right? Grow a hedge.
something to that effect.
Then, and we've looked at this, Mr. Barrett, he was one of your engineers too.
He was.
And Mr. Barrett helped actually invent and develop Tetra, did he not?
He did.
And he was put into the position responsible for doing some of the safety testing of Tetra before it came on the market, right?
Initially.
And Mr. Barrett brought concerns to you, didn't he?
He did.
And he got fired.
Not because he shared concerns.
We're here for you, right?
Yes, that's why we hosted the town hall.
I have no further questions, thank you.
Mr. Kennedy, thank you very much. I'm going to permit some limited redirect examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Four quick questions. Phelps, I want to direct your attention to some of the questions that were asked on cross-examination. Mr. Kennedy started out by asking you about the suspension and termination of Mr. Castrogano.
I recall that question.
Let me ask you this. Once Mr. Castrogano was suspended and terminated, did the inspections stop in any way?
No,
So they continued?
they did continue.
Did they continue at the same frequency that you've already described to the jury?
Yes, they continued frequently.
Did they continue on the same unannounced basis that you've already described?
Yes.
Okay. Shifting gears.
That's about 6 questions so far.
Shifting category. Shifting gears, Mr. Kennedy asked you about benzene and arsenic and took you through. Those are known carcinogens. You remember those?
Yes.
Those questions. Is there any evidence in this case that you are aware of unsafe levels of benzene or arsenic permeating the aquifer?
No, there is no evidence of that.
Mr. Kennedy said, quote, they might, I think I got it down exactly right, they might seep into the aquifer. Is there any evidence that they seeped into the aquifer?
There is no evidence.
Page, I want to take both Mr. Kennedy and the court up on the offer to complete what Mr. Drummy said at the public meeting. Turn to page 47. Could we get that up there, Rob? Page 47 of the public hearing transcript.
Which exhibit?
Say it again. The
14.
What exhibit is it?
Exhibit 14.
Exhibit 14, page 47.
Last page, Rob.
Paul, Mr. Kennedy asked you a question about the line that starts, we line them with polyurethane, referring to the pits. We line them with pure polyurethane. We have cement basins at some sites. You recall him asking that question?
Yes.
Okay, and then had he read the rest of the statement and quoted accurately, he would have read the following, quote, and we make sure the water in there doesn't leak into the ground. Did I read that accurately?
You did.
Ms. Phelps, last question. Have you heard anything during cross-examination that suggests to you that Energy Dynamics fracking activities contaminated any waterway anywhere?
No.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Unger, thank you. Mr. Kennedy, anything else?
No.
Thank you very much. You may step down. That does conclude the testimony of this witness. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and for the opportunity to be here. We're taking a brief recess for some questions from the jury. You want to deliberate? Okay.
Our last session is going to be closing argument. So this, yeah, questions and answer, or questions now on the.
I just want to say one thing about counsel here. You know, this was a tough job that you had to do as a witness. You can see why it takes so much preparation because you got to really prepare people for what could be coming their way. But you did not hear for the first time that the witness, the CEO, is not a chemical engineer or a chemist or a geoengineer, because counsel made sure to try to take the wind out of the sails of what her Stanford advanced degree was about, that it wasn't in this field. So that was skillful. And you also kind of kept warning everybody, Mr. Kennedy will, he'll get at you next. But however you were saying it, so I think he was trying to brace everyone for the fact that she would be under some attack. But I did think that it was skillful that he tried to make sure that he got out what her education was about and how it was unrelated to what he did. And even when witnesses might not be somebody's cup of tea who's making a decision, like a jury, it was hard not to respect and find each of these lawyers likable because of their preparedness, the respect they showed. And professionalism never goes out of style, so I do really believe that you got some great examples today of what skillful advocacy looks like. So thank you to counsel. It was
If I may take this extraordinary opportunity to ask the judge a question. Understanding this is a jury trial, that you gave latitude and that you allowed the attorneys to control the ebb and flow. If it is not a jury trial, do you give the same latitude to the attorneys? What is your mindset? You're bringing a lot of experience and personal opinions.
I would have done things differently if this was in real life, but I did understand that this was an educational experience and that there would be discussion after each segment of the trial about why lawyers were choosing not to object. So I did inject myself, and actually it seems like when there's a bench trial, things are not as tight as they are in a jury trial. So, when there's a jury trial, I just feel very strongly about the fact that jurors can't really discern for the very questions that were being asked before. It sounded like all the testimony was coming from Mr. Underwood, the CEO. That I would not have permitted that, but again, you heard the strategy, and you could later see that Mr. Kennedy was thinking, get it all out, and he was not going to object to it. So those are strategic decisions. But in a courtroom, I really do want to hear the facts of the case. I have been on the bench for over 21 years, and what a jury wants to do is evaluate the witnesses. And the person, the evidence is what drives the case. And that's going to be sworn testimony from a witness stand and exhibits that are admitted. So I really want the evidence to speak for itself. Today I was trying to go along with what I understood were going to be some obvious, and you all noticed, by the way, issues that could be raised at a jury trial that, I'm respecting counsel and did not inject myself today, but I probably would have done it differently. And these are two lawyers with a lot of experience. I hope I answered your question to a sufficiency, but I do like to give lawyers their latitude. I have a lot of respect for people who walk into a courtroom and take a cause on, and I don't want to interrupt them, but there comes a point where if a witness is arguing or simply not answering a question, as happened, at some point I'm going to move things along.
This was really amazing to watch. I learned a lot. But I just also wanted to say, so one thing that I noticed was that there was masterful use on both sides of trying to keep certain quick points that are very memorable and salient, like that board. It's just, that's what's going to be stuck in my mind for the rest of the day. And I assume that's what would happen with juries as well. And then the coffee cup, if this were in your coffee cup, would you drink it? About Tetra. So the only thing is, at the very end of redirect, the final question I might have asked would have been, would you allow your children and your pets to play in and near this water? And then just end it there, so that would be another very memorable thing. It would bring up the fact that she is part of the community, has family, has stakes in there, and also there is that consideration. So we kind of this against that and kind of balance things out. But I'm a 1L, so I don't really know.
Any other questions?
So one thing, Michael, I noticed you did quite a bit, and I really liked it. But I'm trying to understand what the purpose of it is. Was you constantly kind of bring the attention back to what the plaintiff's accusation is, And I know about, one of my professors talked about primacy and recency a lot, so I was kind of wondering, was the reason why you bring up the plaintiff's allegations more to take the wind out of the plaintiff's cross, or more to remind the jury about the preponderance standard?
Well, in the redirect, my point was, what the heck does the fact that benzene or arsenic are carcinogens have to do with this case? I was trying to take the sting out of what I thought was a very effective piece of the cross-examination, but point out that there's no what we call loss causation. There's no connection between those known carcinogens and this case. There's no evidence in the case of contamination. And then just generally speaking, I'm always trying to bring it back to the core allegations in this case, because I think that one of the facts that really helps me is you'll ultimately be the judge of this after you hear closing arguments, is the fact that all of the cattle didn't become sick and all of the cattle didn't die, and they all drank from the same stream. So it was contaminated for one, it was contaminated for all, and none of them died. It's not the easiest case from the defense perspective.
Not all of them died, that's my case.
Here.
Yeah, so this question is for Mr. Kennedy. So on cross-examination, she was biting you a lot. And so how do you decide, like, how far down